Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum. I welcome you all to today's New Bangladesh. Here, as usual, we shall discuss about our new politics, new economics, new people, new citizens, new culture, overall new Bangladesh. Today, as our guest, here present Professor S.M. Arifuzzaman. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Welcome, sir.
How are you, sir?
Yeah, fine, alhamdulillah.
Okay, sir. Tell us about you in brief, sir.
Okay. I'm Professor S.M. Arifuzzaman. I'm in the university teaching from 2004, and my first degree was actually computer science from computer science and engineering from DUIT. I started teaching in computer science and engineering department, but after that I went to my MBA with AIT fellowship from Institute of Technology, and then I did my master's in finance from ESAP Business School, which is the first business school of the whole world. And after that, from 2008, I'm involved in the business school teaching. And over the period of time, I worked for AIB, IB, East West, BRAC, North South, and then Canadian University of Bangladesh. And right now, I am with Uttara University as the advisor of brand and communication. I teach the course of business school, and I prefer to call myself as a business school professor. I teach finance, business strategy, MIS course, and in the last for the last 10 to 12 years, I'm seriously involved in the corporate training. And right now, I'm the partner of one of the leading training house of Bangladesh, Kaji Consultants.
Thank you, sir. So you studied abroad in Thailand and in France.
Yes, sir.
Very nice, sir. As a computer engineer, I think that better you changed your track a bit, or you can incorporate the business with computer engineering.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Because today is the world of AI, artificial intelligence. So I'm feeling really comfort to be able to apply my all the engineering knowledge, and I can blend the business school and the IT together. And you know that I still remember that my first paper was published in the Dhaka University Journal, where I focused on the software export industry of Bangladesh. There I had shown that one of the biggest problems of Bangladesh is that our IT people, they don't know much about the management, and the management people, they don't know much about the IT. So I am actually, filling the gap here. So when I teach the MIS course of the business strategy course, you know that everywhere, wherever you go now, you cannot, ignore the artificial intelligence or the engineering knowledge. So this is actually giving me some sort of comfort, and I have found these students are also really feeling good that I can show them that how these two are connected.
Well, sir, tell us about the training in the corporate sector, business corporate training. What is the importance of it in our country?
Yeah, that's a very nice question you have asked me. You know that we are talking a lot about the education system of Bangladesh, especially the bachelor education or the master's level education of Bangladesh is not so good, unfortunately. We have to accept this reality, and even the rankings are also telling that our education system is actually not so good. UNESCO 2 years back, they had published a report that where they have marked the Bangladesh score in the higher education sector, and Bangladesh got only 2.1 out of 100. So you can easily understand the graduate that we're producing from university, they are not very much qualified to work well in the corporate sector. So when they will be working in the corporate sector, they need to train themselves in different employability skills. So the need of the training is very much needed for Bangladesh. I believe that if Bangladesh want to prosper, if we want to make ourselves a developed nation, our corporate have to become the world class. And the corporate training can actually help them to do that.
A huge number of people of our country, they live outside the capital. So there is a need and importance of having commerce colleges. So how can you incorporate commerce colleges with our today's private universities or to some extent public universities where you have business schools?
Yeah, I believe that what has happened actually over the period of time, actually we have made our education or getting the degree very easy. So commerce school, as you have mentioned, rightly you have told us, because you know that once upon a time we had the BCom degree,
Yes,
which focus rigorously they were focusing on the particular area of business. Like the student who is to choose the accounting, they used to do 10 to 15 courses.
yes.
Who are choosing the finance, they are doing 10 to 15 courses. But over the period of time now, everybody is offering the BBA. I think that has become a biggest weakness of Bangladesh. So we really have to work on that. And the commerce college, I believe that within a very short time, we must work to actually incorporate this kind of colleges, which will really make the great quality business graduates.
Now tell us about your journey of corporate training in shorts.
Yeah, when I came back to Bangladesh to start teaching the business school in 2008, when I was teaching the business school courses, that I found that business school graduates are very different from the other graduates of other disciplines. Why? Because we are producing the ready-made students. So they will be just go to the corporate and they will have to work, they have to perform, they have to help the company to grow their revenue or to reduce the expenses. Overall, they should add the value to the company. But I found that the teachers were teaching something very theoretical. At that point of time, I felt the need to actually work with the corporate so that I can really understand what is happening in the corporate and what our graduates, they should, the skills they should learn so that they can apply them. So by doing this, I got involved myself in the corporate sector, corporate training, and I failed to actually start doing the corporate training. And from 2015, I started doing the corporate training. And when I was training the executives, the corporate people, when they are appreciating that the concept that we are sharing, the thing that we are teaching them, it was really helpful for them to work better in the corporate. I felt really, sense of accomplishment. And I have found that while I was working in the corporate sector, when I was coming back to the classroom, my students were getting more benefit and they are getting it more enjoying, more engaging, and more interactive.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So what type of training programs you have?
Yeah, I offer mostly, that I am very much known right now in Bangladesh for emotional intelligence. I am one of the pioneers of Bangladesh for introducing this concept, because when I got to know about this thing, I found that it's a wonderful thing, because at the end of the day, every people are human being. So they cannot ignore their emotions. So emotion play a very vital role. For example, when my boss is making some criticism about me, how I am taking it. Should I take it positively or should I take it negatively? That matters a lot about my career, about my growth. So emotional intelligence is my one signature program. Other than that, I work for leadership training, proactive thinking, negotiation skills, stress management, and personal branding also. So these are some of the training programs that I offer.
I myself is also a man of science. My background is science background basically, but for a very long time, I have been teaching in the business school here, universities as well. And another thing is that I have the experience of corporate job abroad. For about 4 years, I had in this type of job, in corporate job. And what I felt, what you are telling now, that stress. So for stress relief, what can you advise us or suggest us?
Thanks a lot for a very interesting question. You see that when we feel a stress, actually, what happened that we actually go back to our days of the ancestors. So once upon a time, it's a very nicely said, but it is, sometimes it is not a nice thing to tell. It is something I should feel, bad about that. Like once upon a time, whenever a human being used to see any animal, only three things can be happen. Either you'll be eaten, you have to eat it, or you have to fly, actually. You have to go ahead. So interesting thing, our brain cannot differentiate between this life-threatening issue and the normal situation. What happened? Majority of the people, if we really don't work with the stress management thinking, sometime under some stress situation, our brain goes into that time. As a result of what we do something weird. And that is why you see that in the workplace, sometimes some employee, all of a sudden they send an email that no, I can no longer work with the organization. Sometimes they do some sort of, serious arguments. As a result of this, they actually do harm to their career. So one of the stress management very simple tip that I always share with my participants is that whenever you feel stressed, whenever you feel that something is not going very normal, what you can do? You can stop. You can pause yourself and you can just think for a moment. This is the first thing you can do, because if you do that, your brain will come back to the original time and then you can sense actually what is happening. Another technique I also tell them is about the breathing technique. So one of the technique I also show them is that, like, whenever you feel stress, you can do that. You can put the right hand there. You can put the hand there. You can do what? You can do a very inhale. So your belly will go up, but this will not go up. And then you will again remove it. So that will give you the instant energy. And you see that if you look at the child, they always take this kind of breathing. This is called the belly breathing. But when we become adult, we forget that. So these are some of the breathing techniques we can follow. And whenever we feel stressed, we can pause ourselves. And you know that if we can connect this with our Islamic teaching also. Our Prophet, he has told that whenever you are feeling anger, if you are standing, sit down. If you are sitting down, lie down. And sometimes it is also told in another reference that if you feel very stressed, you actually go and wash yourself.
Yeah.
And so these are all the techniques are there for stress management.
How is our corporate culture in Bangladesh? How it is?
In one point, if I say it's really not so good, actually, there is a lack of corporate governance actually, and this is actually very important. I am a great fan of corporate governance, but unfortunately, in the context of Bangladesh, this is lacking. And as a result of this, I found that our quality graduates who cannot give much oiling and who are not focusing more on the nepotism thing, they are not feeling comfortable. As a result of this, after a certain period of time, they actually go abroad, and which is actually causing a great damage for this country. So I believe that I always have written so many times that if we want to save our country, if we want to make ourselves a prosperous country, one of the most important things is that we need to focus on the corporate governance. Because when we have a corporation, I believe that Bangladeshi people still don't understand the difference between the sole proprietorship and the corporation. Corporation meaning is what? You are separating yourself from the company. The company is a new entity, but we don't believe in this. The founder, they still feel that I am the owner. There is a word in Bangladesh we call Mali. In the USA, you will never hear this word. They call founder, co-founder, owners, shareholders. But these things is heavily lacking. But interestingly, in your show, let me tell you, if you look at some of the great performing companies who are making a lot of money, plus they are respected, their products are highly valued, you will see that they are following the corporate governance to some extent. Even 2008, I think one of the research, not so many researches are there done in the field of the corporate governance, but in 2008, one research was published, and the number one company that was following the corporate governance, that is still one of the leading companies in Bangladesh. And the employees who are working for this company, they feel so great. Their company have all the corporate policies because all the promotion, all the salary, all these things are decided by the corporate, not on any personal, by any personal people. So I believe that I think the Bangladesh right now in a very good position, I believe, because we are actually thinking to make our country in a better way, in a different way. All the nepotism, all these things have been destroyed. Now I think that Bangladesh, I will actually request from your show to our chief advisor, Dr. Musa, that please work in this area actually. If we can make our companies to follow the corporate governance, Bangladesh will actually get that huge benefit. Because our people are really highly qualified. They are very, I have found that they really want to work hard. They are very hardworking, but they don't use this one too much because they know that, okay, what is the point of doing hard work? Because I am not get the benefit that I am supposed to get because somebody else will take it. Who actually know very good at making relationship and what I should say that they can praise their bosses in a flattery way. But some great people, they cannot do that. So I think that in Bangladesh right now we know this, we need to establish the corporate governance.
How old is corporate training in Bangladesh?
Corporate training is actually, I must thank to some people like who had started this training from the year 2000, I think 2000, and I'm lucky to be associated. My managing partner is Kaji Mohammed Bhai. He is in this sector for the last 27 years, and I am working with him for the last 6 months, and I have found that he has never compromised with the quality. So this type of high quality trainers, we have a really shortage of that, but this industry is actually evolving. This is high time we should make some policies, some principles, and I think that companies also should be aware of the thing that whom they are inviting. I have found that some companies are inviting some trainers just based on the relationship. They are not focusing how much quality they have. I believe that they should focus on that, but the training industry has a huge prospect in Bangladesh.
Sometimes I train the bankers in some banks where I teach general education. Okay. So they tell that this is also very useful. So do you arrange this type of training?
Yeah, I worked for already 2 banks already. I trained them the emotional intelligence for the bankers, and I have found that all the bankers were really happy, and they told that, sir, this is something new we have learned today, and from now on we can apply this. Because in the emotional intelligence, what we teach, that you can lose all of your reputation of 12 years in just 1 second. Because whenever we feel some emotion, you see that we cannot actually behave in the best manner. So emotional intelligence is very much needed, and for two banks in their foundation code, they are including this emotional intelligence after interacting with them. And I think that all types of education and learning are actually needed. Not only focusing on something that will make them qualify them to become a best salesperson, not like that. We need to also develop the skill that will make them better human being as well. So that is why this kind of learnings are also very much needed. Knowing the history in a proper manner and the culture. What is the culture of Bangladesh? We need to also know about that also.
As regards corporate culture in academia, since you are a professor and at the same time you are a corporate trainer, I found in some of the private universities of Bangladesh that they are trying to introduce corporate culture in the universities, which is basically damaging the academy. This is on the one hand. On the other hand, maybe for the employers, this type of culture is needed. So I cannot incorporate this. What is your opinion?
Yes, sir, rightly say that in a university the culture should not be that level, that much corporate culture. Because university, what I believe, what is the difference between the college and the university? The university teacher, they can think anything, they can feel anything. The students will be encouraged to ask any types of question. So there I cannot have the corporate culture. We need to have the academic culture. But unfortunately this is heavily missing, and I think that we need to look at that. What happened in Bangladesh, you have rightly said that sometimes we actually copy the things from the abroad. Whoever there, they want to make their life comfortable, and that's why they just copy the thing. They never think about that, how I can adapt, how much adaptation is needed. That adaptability, that is a very important skill. That day I took the training on the adaptability to one very reputed companies, and they loved it. They told that yes sir, that is needed, like adaptation. But in the context of Bangladesh, we just copy paste. As a result of this, we are actually doing more harm than the benefit we are actually bringing. So I believe that we need to do some sort of separation actually. In the academic institution, they should grow the way the academician can flourish, they can grow, and we need to bring this kind of different culture over there.
Academic environment should be there.
Academic environment should be there. Because professor, you should give them the freedom. Because you know that a academician will teach for how many hours? Think about it. For example, in 1 week, maybe they will be teaching 9 hours. What they will do for the other 31 hours or something like that. I have found that in a different university, they always look for that. Oh my God, what the teacher is doing. The meaning is that we are not giving the time to the faculty for the thinking time. The thinking, feeling, that is very important. The teachers have to bring the innovation. This is the difference between the college teacher and university teacher. College teacher, they don't innovate anything. They just teach and teach over the period of time, same thing. And the universities teachers, when they bring some new theory, that will be adapted to the college education. But unfortunately, our college, that is different to the college and university teacher, there is no difference. And I think that everybody should take the responsibility. I had written an article in the Financial Express 7 years back. I talked about the 5 stakeholders to make our university better. BOT, government, regulators, universities, the academician. Everybody should take the responsibility, and we should try to make our academic system a better one, and which is actually possible.
Yes. So university is the place for free thinking.
Free thinking.
Okay. Well, sir. Now, as regards the corporate culture in USA and the corporate culture in Japan, I am told that they are different. Can you tell us about it?
A very nice question, sir. Again, the Japanese culture concept is actually family culture. That whenever you are coming to any company, you become the part of family. And everybody will consider that you are the family member, and that's why they work very hard and they have no time limit. And as you have heard that the Japanese people, they are so much caring about to complete the task that if you cannot complete the task, they sometimes commit a suicide. So Japanese culture is like that. In Japan, getting job is tough, firing is very difficult. Nobody will lose job. But in the American concept is the hiring and firing. So the culture is actually the value creation and the innovation, and there, if you have some innovative concept, you can become a billionaire one night. But you know that, and for me, I love this American culture more because there they focus in the present moment, what you are doing right now, and that is why you see that from the world, the most brilliant people, they all flock to America, and they build great business over there. Because they got the value of the innovation. In my opinion, In the American culture, innovation has a tremendous value. And think about the Elon Musk. Now he has become the owner of $340 billion. Can you imagine that? Why? Because he is giving the hope to the people that he is bringing something very unique, and that's why the value is there. And that their people are also like that. When some new innovation is coming, if they feel the credibility, they're ready to give the money, and that is why they are growing. So Japanese culture, in my opinion, is slow, but Japanese focus most on the quality one, and the American, I think, more quality. They focus on the more quality on the quickness, but they don't avoid the quality, but they don't give much focus on the quality the way the Japanese do. And that's why Steve Jobs and all the great Americans, they always give credit to the Japanese that we have learned this culture from the Japan.
And which type of corporate culture is applicable in our country?
I am a great advocate of the American culture. So I would love to say that yes, your previous performance doesn't matter. You really have to work in the present moment. So if you perform today, your age, your experience doesn't matter. What you are doing right now, that's very important. And what you have done, yeah, you should be rightly compensated. So I believe more in I think that in the context of Bangladesh, I would love to go for the American culture.
But we are Asians. Don't you think that Japanese culture is more closer to us?
And maybe, sir, that is debatable thing, and I always accept the arguments. I love this because I love this discussion always. But maybe then we have to think about some, come to the medium point maybe. Yeah, that is something good question.
Blending of
we need
these
to, yeah, blending.
two
The
cultures,
blending can be done, yes, sir, definitely.
But is there any research about this blending?
Not much. I haven't heard that much, but I used to teach the corporate finance course, and there the professor had argued that the corporate governance system is still one of the best. They estimate if it is compared with the even German, they had another corporate governance system where they focus more on the bankers. So apart from that, from the analogies or from the contrast, they have come up with this conclusion that the American corporate governance can help better.
Okay, sometimes I watch Korean movies. Now they are focusing on the corporate culture in the movies also. That they are showing about the corporates and the corporate cultures in their movies, maybe to inspire their people. Do you think that this type of movies should be made here in Bangladesh as well?
Thank you, sir. Another very nice and brilliant question. You see that even we compare ourselves with Pakistan or India, even like we're a very close country. You know that I watch the serials of India and Pakistan a lot actually, and I have found that they are actually bringing this kind of thing in their serial that we are not doing. We are still focusing more on the love affairs. And I think that you have raised a very important point. I think that in our country, there was I think Chorki, they had introduced a web series called Internship. I couldn't see it, but I believe that is maybe some way connected to that. But I believe that, yeah, that is true. We need to bring this kind of concept in the Bangladeshi movies, which is not coming. In the Indian movies, they focus on the emotional intelligence part. Rajkumar Hirani, for example, he always brings this kind of concept there, where an individual can try to focus on themselves and they can grow themselves. But in Bangladesh, that is not happening. You are absolutely right. I think that we should incorporate this in our
maybe the film directors are not thinking about this. Why the corporates are not inspiring the film directors to make this type of films?
I am not much sure about that, but I thought about this in the context of Bangladesh. I found that starting a business is difficult, but continuing the business is easy. Why? Because when a company becomes giant, they have nothing to lose because they have got a lot of muscle power, plus customer have no other alternative option available to them. So as a result of this, in the context of Bangladesh, the big companies, they don't focus much on how I can bring some innovative product. They're only focusing on the cost one, and they're focusing more on the retailers, how we can be close to the retailers. As a result of this, I believe that they don't think much about bringing changing the mindset of the people in that way. That's why I think that they are not thinking. Because why they will be thinking? They are making a lot of money by doing this. Because you need to have the vision. Like we need to have the vision leader like Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, like this kind of iconic figure. But in the context of Bangladesh, we don't see many of them. So I think that they are reluctant. They don't feel to think about it because they are making a lot of money. And why they will be thinking? That's the question. So I think the other people, especially I think that in the context of the academician should take the active role, but we are not taking that role.
We saw that during the previous fascist regime, Many of the corporate bosses engage themselves in looting the money of the people, sir. So how can we get rid of it?
Yeah, I believe that one of the another American concept that I have learned, I think when I was teaching the corporate finance course, I learned something valuable. That they say that, do you know that in our stock market, we are not flawless. Sometimes you can do something bad, but the beauty of American system is that if you are caught, the punishment will be severe. And that's why they put you jail for 100 to 100 years. You see?
Yeah.
Because the stock market is all about the general people money, and that is why they're very serious there. But because they're always concerned about the common people money. That's why in the 2008, when there was the financial distress, I think Barack Obama, he put more than $2-3 trillion to save the people's money. But unfortunately, in Bangladesh, I have found that we don't think most about the majority people, unfortunately. We think about some individuals, some rich people. I don't know. This is a very bad culture. So my answer to your question will be, if they are caught, punishment has to be severe, because everybody should understand that it is not so easy to play with the others people's money and escape yourself. No, the punishment has to be such serious. If any corporate is found to do this kind of a scandal, they should be put in 100, 200 year jail.
What I know that Generation Z, that means our children, many of them are now busy with freelancing with other countries. Can you bring them into a corporate culture?
Yeah, another very interesting and nice question, sir. The problem we have found in the context of Bangladesh nowadays, there is a phenomenon going on. Everybody trying to become the owner. Why? And I hate to think about this question. I have found that suppose I am a owner. I have set up a freelancing business, and I am actually getting the work, and I am employing 5 people to work for this. The problem is where, suppose for per contract I am making 100,000, but I am giving an individual only 20,000. And that creates the problem in his head that, oh my God, I am contributing 100,000 because now everything is transparent.
Yeah.
So problem is that, like, our owners, they are trying to take the big pie. That is a big crisis, and as a result, the corporate thing is not happening. So I believe that if we really want to bring them into corporate culture, there should be some sort of training for the ethics training or something like that, where the owners will not take the big pie. In the American context, sir, I have learned another interesting thing. Let me share with you. I think 35 years back, they had introduced wonderful concept that they want that their corporate will be working in line in the company. As a result, to enable that, what they have done, they had actually introduced a concept called profit sharing. So whenever a corporate is getting promotion, his salary in his salary package, maybe 80% is actually tied with the shares. Sundar Pichai, 3 years back, I had read a report that in that year, I think that he had earned around 1,200 crore taka, but he got only 50 crore taka cash. The company had bought Google share for him more than amount of 1,000 crore taka. So I think that in the context of Bangladesh, we should have this kind of thing. You see that in Bangladesh, a senior people, the more senior he becomes, the more vulnerable he becomes. Because he thinks that, okay, if I lose this job, where I am going to get the job? This is creating problem, but in the context of US, that never happened. After certain years of forex experience, whenever you join for any company, you get not only salary, you get the ownership also. Every year you work for that, so you are becoming part of the company over the period of time. So I think that the freelancer, if we really want to think about them, we need to think about to implement this kind of corporate culture in Bangladesh.
Well, sir, when I worked abroad in a corporation, I also got profit share. I had a fixed salary plus profit share, which inspired me a lot. But in Bangladesh, you see that we had high exploitation in the
owners want to take the majority of the pie. Yeah. That is a big crisis, and that is why the brilliant people, they don't feel to work for the company. They feel, oh my God, I'll give my own company, and that is still causing a lot. In Bangladesh now, 1 crore company, I guess. Yes. But better, what you are supposed to have. 10 great people are working for the same company. The value could be higher. But it is not happening. I think that the corporate governance is the solution to solve this problem.
Yes, the Generation Z is now getting frustrated that after the completion of the university, if I work in a corporation, I will get 25,000 or 30,000 taka only. So that can be solved.
Yeah, I think we should solve. I think that we need to work with we need to give them the future. If we can see the future, I can give my best. In the context of America, it has been found that why the Americans do great at the age of 30, 40, because What they want to do, they learn at the age of 15 to 20. That they got to know that, yeah, I'm going to do. For example, think about Steve Jobs and the Bill Gates. It is happening for majority of the people. But in the context of Bangladesh, we really don't know what I'm doing. For example, when I got admitted myself in the computer science engineering, but wait, I didn't have any goal. Because going there, I didn't find any hall of fame kind of anything. I don't know what my seniors are doing. And everybody was fighting to become the teacher. Unfortunately. You see, nobody is actually talking about this thing in Bangladesh. And Gen Z, they're frustrated because they don't see any clear path. What they're going to do? They see that, okay, the most brilliant people, or their senior brother, they are not doing nothing. And the content creator, YouTuber is making 200, 500,000 taka per month. So we cannot show them the right path. Then you see, if you work hard, maybe your salary will be low, but after 40 years, you will have a respectable position. You know that we have to go back always to the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. He has told that there are 5 needs. The basic need at the top one, the self-esteem. Every human being nowadays, they want the self-esteem. They want the respect. They want the money. You cannot make everybody happy with giving only one thing. Giving respect is only not enough. Giving money is not only enough. You have to, give them the both. You have to make the system such that our employees all feel that, yes, think about Bangladesh. I think the most brilliant people, after 40, they left the country. Why? Because they see no career after 40. You see, sir, you are working in this country for the last 30, 40 years. So you see the situation. It is really bad. The time when their wisdom is needed for the country, they are leaving. And we are not doing anything to hold them.
Okay, how can the government make part in it to stop exploitation?
Yeah, I think the government should focus more on the labor law. That is not happening. Government is not at all focusing, especially in the last 16 years. They didn't have a look. I think the owners, they have a relationship with the government, and that's why everything was making legal. I think that government, a ministry should be there where they should focus on every company. Every company. It is not a rocket science, sir. In today's world where we have artificial intelligence, I can do the things very easily, right? We can have all the company's information. The company is there where there is anomaly. The red signal can be there, and we can do more investigation there. I think the government now, they should be very active in monitoring this kind of problem. Because if we need to develop our country, we need to really take care of the corporate employees. They are actually the blood of the economy, in my opinion. They are bringing a lot of money for the tax. Even they are the one who are giving the huge amount of tax. If we can uplift their career, if we can let them a great career, I think the government can get the direct tax a lot also. But in Bangladesh, what is happening? We know in all the places I have seen that the entry level people are there, but middle missing, top level missing. In Bangladesh, how many for MD's position, bank, for the VC's position, how many people are qualified there? We fail to make them, we fail to prepare them. We are not thinking at all about that, and that is why we are really relying on the foreign people. We have to develop a culture where people will be developed over the period of time, but we are not doing it.
During my time in school curriculum, we studied the biography of the politicians and to some extent the biography of some scientists like Jagadish Chandra Basu and something like this. But we never studied the biography of corporate brilliance like where you mentioned, like Elon Musk or Bill Gates or like this. Do you think that this type of biography should be included in the school curriculum to inspire our people?
Thanks a lot. I think it's a very wonderful question you have asked me, sir. Yes, we need to do that, and especially not only about them, in the context of Bangladesh, there are some very successful entrepreneurs who have actually proved their quality. We should also incorporate them also.
Thank you, sir. In the university, I teach leadership and organizational behavior. So what can you tell about the leadership in the corporate industries?
Yeah, once upon a time, I learned a very interesting thing about one CEOs of Bangladesh. He told that those who want to be leader, that's a great news because people want to be followers. So the problem is that leadership, one of the aspects is taking the initiative. So when I was doing my master's in France, in one of our classes, the teachers were preparing ourselves how we can crack the interview. So one student asked the madam, madam, suppose if the interviewer asked us that can you demonstrate whether you have a leadership skill or not. Madam told, yeah, you can give a lot of examples, but one simple example you can give. You can tell that, okay, we have a friend of 4 or 5 friends, but when you have to go to any restaurant or any movie to see, all the time, my friends rely on me to take the decision. So I had to propose. So you can say that this is my leadership skill, and that is true. You will see that leadership is all about taking the initiative, the proactiveness. So it's all about the proactiveness. Leadership, in my opinion, and in Bangladesh, I had the opportunity to meet with very successful leaders in the corporate. I have found that the one quality that set them apart from others is the proactiveness. They never sit idle. They never working just for the sake of working. And that is why that is the difference between the leadership and the managers. Managers actually do the right things. They follow the copybook. What is there, they follow it. But leaders always do the things right. They always try to find out, okay, is there any best way to do that? What else I can do? My company is making 100 crore, but can I make it 150 crore? Something like that. So leadership is all about the proactiveness and thinking ahead, and then the other things will follow. But this is actually the first one, the thinking ability.
Thank you, sir. In Bangladesh, we have cadet colleges to make potential military officers, and earlier we had residential model school to make potential civil officers. Now we have only one residential school. I think it should be introduced. But as regards to make potential entrepreneurs, potential corporate brilliance, we don't have any school. Do you think that this type of boarding school should be established in our country?
I believe that yes, I think that we may do that, but that should come after doing some work actually. Because maybe that's a great idea, somebody will initiate that. But problem is that whether we have enough qualified teachers or not. Because at the end of the day, all the professionals are actually coming from the teaching from through the teachers, right, sir?
Yeah.
And in the UNESCO report that I had shared with you, that they told that the quality of any country's academic quality, 80% determinant factor is the quality of the teachers. The problem in Bangladesh is right now is the quality of the teachers. We fail to make the academic profession a noble profession in Bangladesh because we don't pay them much. The first one, and second thing is that there are a lot of other ways you can make money, but the teaching profession you cannot do. As a result of this, not the quality people are coming to the teaching that they used to do 40, 50 years back, unfortunately. Now only the low quality people, they are coming to the teaching profession, unfortunately. So unless we actually work on this, otherwise, if you run this kind of institution, I think that you need to bring the teachers from outside. That will increase the cost. And because you know that in the USA, the primary school teacher, they are highly paid, you know, sir.
Yes.
In the Japan also they are highly paid.
Highly paid.
But in Bangladesh, what do you do? I think most of the English medium school, they are actually running their school with the part-time teachers, which is dangerous thing. They are giving them only 15 to 20,000 taka.
Yeah.
And you know that our children, they deserve the high quality people there who have seen the whole life. I believe that maybe, sir, you should be invited to take classes for the children. I should be invited. But is it happening? No. I think that our children, they are not getting the big picture. The big picture is missing. One university student is teaching there. So I think that your school concept is fantastic. I believe that should be established. But at first, we need to make sure that we have high quality and enough number of good teachers. Actually. Then we should go for it. But it's a good idea, sir.
Thank you, sir. As far as I know, in Japan and USA, in big corporations, they have a research wing. What about our country's corporate industries?
R&D are highly missing, sir. But if you look at some of the companies, I believe that they have the R&D because if you look at them, their products are very diversified. I will not mention the name because then their free promotion will be there. But if you look at some of the corporate, you know that their owners are fantastic. Because of that, they are doing a lot of innovation and they are bringing different types of product over the period of time. Then you can understand they have a R&D. But other than that, I think majority company, they don't understand even what is R&D. It's a one-person decision that, okay, do this, bring this product. But we don't see how many innovations we have found. Because we don't believe in the R&D, I guess. But R&D is not there in Bangladesh.
Are the industries, corporate industries, are doing any cooperation with the universities?
No, not much. They are just signing the MOU, but nothing happening. I had the opportunity to work for all the best universities of Bangladesh. Nothing is happening, and I think that I believe right now nothing will happen. Again, I'll say that it all depends on the professor. Because the professor is actually, you know, why the big corporate in USA, they rely on the professor. Because the industry cannot observe what is going on. Because they don't have the time. Who has the time? The professor. Professor do the research, and that is why in the USA, great companies are afraid of the professor. Why? Because if the professor bring any innovation, If they miss it, then they will be out of the market, and that is why they spend a huge amount of money with the professor. So professor actually initiate the R&D project, company actually fund them, and the students are employed to work in this, and that's why the PhDs are produced. That is the concept. But in Bangladesh, the first problem will be that the professor.
Thank you, sir.
Suppose you want to work in the field of the suppose product innovation, who is there?
Well, another subject I teach, that is operations management. At the time, it was a very new subject introduced in Bangladesh. Now, what about the present condition of this subject in the corporate areas?
I think that now we are focusing more on the subset of the operation management, that's the supply chain management. We are focusing more on this niche part, more supply chain, and in the supply chain we are focusing the supply chain means actually only the downstream, not the upstream. We focus more on how the delivery is done, but I think that under the operation management more focus will be given on the how you are bringing raw materials, how you are actually inviting the different suppliers. But this is the area where we are not that much concerned, and the manufacturing also we are not that much innovative. So I believe that that is not rightly applied yet, but we should take the initiative actually to incorporate that.
Do you think that the total quality management is maintained in our corporate industries?
No way, no way, no way, no way.
Yes, it's an interesting question that many companies still see training as an expense rather than an investment. So how do you address this mindset?
Yeah, this is one of the areas where we have to struggle a lot, because companies are thinking that okay, they are spending suppose 200,000, 300,000 for a training, and what is the benefit they are getting? So in my opinion, what I do actually when I communicate with them, we focus more on that your employees' productivity will go up. So after the training, they will be able to do more work. First one, and second one is they will be able to do more quality work, and their team building mindset will go up. So all these things will result in the bottom line, their profitability. So we sometimes actually give the report that what will be the ROI of this trading, the return on investment. So, but it is very difficult because majority of the company they think that okay, where I am right now, as the training is not giving them the immediate profit or immediate revenue, they are reluctant. But the great companies actually they have understood this and they are investing there. They consider it as an investment. So now I believe that the companies who are struggling, who are not that much reputed, they need to focus on what are the areas we should focus on to make our company great. And then they can, by their research, by their observation, they can easily find out that corporate training is one of the things. Because in the USA, right now I have heard that it is more than $20-30 billion industry. Because training is everything. Training is everything there. Because whenever employee is there, he is working. For every position, as the things are coming, the new thing, you need to train yourself. And what happened that training is all about the habit changes. So whenever something is problem, the companies actually sometimes go for the hard line. They put some notice, they do some these things. For example, maybe you see that the company employees are not coming on time. What did they do? They actually put some notice and they think that okay, for every 3 days, if you come late, I will actually cut some of your salary. This is not a very good approach. Companies are actually losing the money, but companies are not understanding that I need the training to address this problem. And the company, then the employees will feel empowered. They will contribute more. But this short-term and long-term thing, I think in Bangladesh, we are still fighting with this concept. We don't want to compromise our short-term for a great long-term. And that is the only few people are now making the success. I think the same thing is happening in the corporation. I think from your talk show, I hope that the corporate also gets some idea about this. And I'm also writing this in my social media, the LinkedIn. In my social media right now, more than 100,000 people are following, mostly corporates. So I am actually writing a lot to bring the awareness actually.
Thank you, sir. Now, in Bangladesh, inside the capital and outside the capital, we severely face the transport problem. So, what about the transport corporations in Bangladesh? Is there any like this?
Actually, BTRC, I think that they are involved in this thing, and the main problem that I have observed in the last few months, I am actually traveling with public transport that I didn't do 8 or 9 months before. So I have observed that there are a lot of problems there, like the buses are there, which is actually of they are very old, they are not functioning properly, and the drivers and the helpers they are not actually properly trained. This is one of the problems. But the biggest problem in Bangladesh, I guess, is the lack of quality public transport. Everybody is now having a car, and if some family they have 3 4 cars, I think that creates a lot of problem for the school and the colleges. I think that we need to focus more on the quality public transport. The initiative was taken, like for example, in the Hatil Chil. That's very running very smoothly. You see, in the Hatil Chil, not all the time you will have that traffic issues because at least some good quality cars are there. They are operating on regular interval. And in Dhaka city also, I think that we need to give quality transport plus quality waiting time, waiting zone, where the customer can have the coffee and they can read the novels and all these things. This is one of the areas we need to focus very quickly, because you know that in the context of Bangladesh, not so many people are actually availing the private car. It is very difficult for them to manage the car, but they are doing because lack of the public transport. For example, the metro. I regularly travel these days with the metro. I found it's a blessing for us. But we need to think in that way actually. What type of public transport system we can incorporate that will be very convenient for the people. And proper lining should be there for the water transport system. That is working very nicely. I've found very nicely, because some people are waiting for 1 hour even to get the water bus, because they know that by waiting for 1 hour, I can have a very safe and the quick transport. But the problem is that the waiting time. And the great companies or great countries, they actually work on that. How I can make the customer feel comfortable. For example, if you go to any bank, they always think about that, what the customer will be doing in this 5 minutes. So I think that we should think about it, what the customers will be doing in this time. Because sometimes the traffic, the waiting time becomes very severe. That actually causes the problem, that causes the stress. So how we can deal with that? We need to think about more about that. Then what are the other alternatives we can give? We can let them study more, because in England you can see that all the people who are traveling by metro, they are all reading the books, fantastic cultures, right? So I think that this should be incorporated. Then they will not feel much about the waiting time, because they know that okay, if I have to wait for my case, if I have to wait for 30 minutes, I always read. I don't feel bad that because this time is properly utilized. So these are the areas we need to focus on.
Yes, sir. Is there any corporate working in railway in our country?
I don't have much information about this. I didn't work much in this area.
Well, can you share any success stories about your training program?
Thank you so much, sir. I have trained the emotional intelligence thing, where we focus on the very small thing, where how you can ignoring the small issues can give you the big win. So many of my corporates, they always share with this example. The last time, sir, I had a customer in my bank. The customer was very hostile, but I use your technique. I breathe and I then ask him the question in the right manner. Rather than asking him the direct question, I ask him very indirect way. Because I covered this in my training. That asking the question is very important. When a customer is actually complaining, if you ask a question that will actually make him more provocative, then it's a problem. So the problem is that they have actually shared the experience that how they make the thing very calm and how they focus more on themselves, and then they interact in the best manner, and then they get the best output.
Thank you, sir. Any point missing that I didn't ask you, but you are interested to tell?
Yeah, sir. I must say I must thank you that you have taken a great initiative with this new Bangladesh concept. I think that we really need to think about in a new way. That no matter what happened in the Bangladesh in the last 55 years, we have to learn the lesson from there. But from now on, we have to feel that we are going to develop this soon. We have to come up with this roadmap, and then we have to work to achieve this one. If there is some flaw, that I have told you that we have to give the severe punishment, because in the what I have learned from the corporate industry is that a high quality employees always feel bad when they see that a bad quality person is not taken into action. So I think that this is a big problem in Bangladesh. We have great people, they want to work hard, but the problem is that the bad performer, there is still getting the good position and getting great output. In Bangladesh, I think we should stop doing that, and then we can, all of us can make a great nation.
So thank you, sir. Any suggestion for our interim government in New Bangladesh?
Not suggestion, because I am not in a position, because it is run by the, most probably there was a report published I think 10 years back. The Times had identified the 30 most innovative person of the last 300 years, and Dr. Yunus sir was one of them. And in my training, I always give example of Yunus sir, that I have found that whenever he is doing any press conference and any meeting, the wonderful thing that I have found, that before the politician never used to do that, he always come up with some problems and the issues, but he's not stopping there. He's coming up with the solution also. So I believe that this government is doing the right thing. But one of the suggestions or recommendation I should give, that please identify the low quality people who are still doing fantastic in different aspects of the aspects of companies, and we should really catch them and give them severe punishment, and we should really focus on the great people to thrive and the flourish and recognize. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dear viewers, this was all with today's discussion. I thank you all, express my profound gratitude to you all, and hope to see you again in the next episode of our New Bangladesh. Assalamu alaikum.